New year, which means new shows. Belle Collective dropped a teaser episode last night, you guys, so let's go ahead and get into it. What's up, you guys? Your girl G here. Welcome back to my channel. Appreciate you for tuning in. Y'all, this is the first video of 2021. I cannot believe we made it through another year. 2020 definitely took a lot out of me. I'm sure out of everybody. That definitely was not what we were expecting. When we had the ball drop on 2019, we was thinking, shoot, it's gonna be the new year, 2020 vision. You know, everybody, had their thoughts and plans of what they was gonna do. And then the ecosystem plus God said, sit your ass down. Like, you're not going nowhere. So 2020 definitely just showed how blessed we are. Like, I'm just super fortunate that, none of my family was affected by COVID. Not everybody's, was as fortunate as that. So you just take the little blessings as they come. Obviously with 2021, your girl turned 26. I had a new birthday. I'm a New Year's baby. It's so weird because my dad's birthday's on New Year's and then my birthday's on the 2nd. So we're literally back to back. But just super blessed. Like, made it another year. Shoot, that mental emotional state last year, especially with the whole Black Lives Matter, and then it just took a toll on everybody. But we're gonna leave that in the past. We're gonna move to 2021, and we're gonna get shit popping. Okay, everybody, make sure you are making your vision boards. You're making sure you have your plans. What do you want to do for 2021? You always got to be progressing, and that's what we're gonna be doing on this channel. Especially with the support of you guys, we are definitely going to be moving on the up and up with this channel. This is just the beginning. So I appreciate all you guys who gave me the birthday wishes, who gave me, little donations to my Cash App. Anything is appreciated. Definitely appreciate a lot of those who, donated to your girl. And let's go ahead and talk about Belle Collective, you guys. OWN is definitely coming with the heat for reality TV. It seems ever since Love and Marriage, Huntsville kind of really brought, OWN. Iyanla was really kind of the forefront of OWN, but Love and Marriage Huntsville definitely resurged it. So having Belle Collective kind of being a follow-up is pretty good. Because reality TV really has just kind of grown stale over there at VH1 and Bravo. So OWN, especially with Black, people, is definitely the way to go. So how do you guys feel about Belle Collective? These ladies, this is kind of really the teaser episode that they just dropped. So, yeah, I think it's just this episode, and then next week is when the actual season starts. So let's go ahead and break down this little preview that they gave us, okay? If you are new to your girl's channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can become a member of the Juicebox crew, one of my Jujus, because they have been the A1, day one, go stay one, all right? We fam over here. So Belle Collective, let's go ahead and break it down. So we open up Belle Collective with, I think, Latisha. We see Latisha. And we are based in Mississippi. So Mississippi, as we know, obviously is a southern state. Very highly melanated, populated in some areas. Other areas, it's hella white. So glad we got a good, nice melanated area for this season. So we open up with Latisha. She is, Latisha does the brunches. There's too many. It's Latisha, Latrice, Marie, and Antoinette. I think that's all the characters so far. So Latisha, she actually is married, has her husband, I think, of only a couple of years, if I'm not mistaken. And she does the Ladies Who Brunch, which is a networking event. Latisha's goal is to purchase, I think it's called Farrah Street. And all of the buildings who used to be booming back in the day, when, Black businesses really took over that street, obviously have, desolated. It's all abandoned buildings. And I love her plan to rebuild the area because at the end of the day, really, honestly, renovating old streets and bringing them back to life is really, truly how you bring business back to cities. Especially for Black people, if we are Black owners of the building, them outsiders, them Caucasians can't come in and just gentrify everything, okay? That's what they really want to do. Gentrify it, raise the price, and then boot us out to another town just to come down 10 years later after we build the shit up and take it over once again. We know how history goes with these white folks. History always repeats itself. So, Latisha, I appreciate your idea for sure. I think Latisha, is Latisha the one with the 21-year-old son? No, I think that's Marie. Yeah, so, Latisha, she definitely has been throwing this thing for a little bit and is wanting to invite all the other ladies so she can reveal this plan to them. So next we have Latrice. Latrice is a big hair vendor, especially down in the South. Something that I'm actually recently getting into is becoming like a vendor. Drop shipping is super lucrative, so you guys might want to look into that if you're looking for a side hustle. Also, as well, become a financial agent because your girl is looking right now. Okay, I'm always looking for people to join my team, and we make buku money over here as a financial agent. And you work from home, and you get to make your own schedule. I'm just dropping that little hint down there, okay? But nonetheless, get your coin, get your bag. So she is a hair vendor. She looks hella bougie. Nothing else to you expect, because she said, I am a millionaire. I am the Beyonce of Mississippi. And I'm just like, oh snap, not one of these, you know, the self-proclaimed queen. Like, I hate people who do like the self-proclamations. Yes, it's good to have confidence in yourself and know what your worth is, but that's totally different than like the self-proclaimed titles. Like, if you the shit, people will say it for you. Like, you don't have to constantly do it. So her hair place is beautiful. It's called Goddess Links. And I like how they actually do like the part that's the store and part that's the salon. So she goes into her store and she has like her team there, and there was like a hairstylist, his name I'm not sure, but you know, he definitely had a little sugar in his tank, as the old folks used to say. And he was definitely funny because they were just talking about, you know, her vending machine, you know, how it definitely took off, you know, in the store. And so that definitely brought on a whole bunch of business. So she's talking about the vending machines and, you know, trying to just do that with all the stores. And so she's asking her people like, oh, what y'all doing tonight? They're like, oh, you know, go hit the town or whatever. And she's like, why don't y'all never invite me? And the quietness that came after that was just super awkward. And finally he said, well, like, you know, like, what's the point of inviting me? Like, because you're probably not even really gonna come. And she's like, why you say that? And he's like, because of him. And here come walking in her man, Cliff, who was 20 years older than her. And guess what she called him? Zaddy. Another heavenly calling your nigga daddy. I don't know. I can't, y'all. I can't, boss. I can't get right with that. Y'all, this freaking chair. If y'all want to help your girl out, cash at me. Goddamn, reach $20 so I can give you new chairs when I'm recording these videos. Y'all see how I started literally at the top of the screen. Now I'm all the way down here. This shit's annoying. Alright, where was I? So, like I said, her little daddy came walking in. His name is Cliff. He's 20 years older than her. They've been together, I think, 10 years, married for 3. So, it definitely... 20 years older than somebody, y'all, that's a lot. And men can do it, so of course women can do it. But I think in the beginning, people underestimate. Yeah, right now it's good because he's 20 years older than you and he's only in his 40s. But what happens when you turn 30 and this nigga 50, like, he about to croak? Like, I mean, 50's young, but you know, he's gonna be trying to do what Ray did on Real Housewives of Potomac. He ready to retire, and God forbid he put one foot on a banana peel, that's a broken hip, and he's over there calling life alert. What you gonna do? You still gonna be out clubbing. So he comes in, greets her with food. Everybody's like, hey, daddy. And she's like, yeah, let's go eat lunch. So they're just sitting there talking, and she's bringing up the brunch with Latisha. And she's like, you know, I'm excited, but, you know, word on the curb is that really women just kind of go there basically to size each other up. It's really honestly just like a size up. Let me see what the other bitch is doing so, like, I can see where my progress is at. So she's like, they're just real fake. And here is where, you know, we had to look at Cliff, you know, a little side-eyed, because he was like, oh, well, you should, you know, fake. You should fit right in. And she's like, excuse me? When you calling me fake? And he was like, I'm just saying. So she's like, if I'm fake, what does that make you? And I can appreciate that she did that, because it'll be so crazy how men will be so disrespectful. They'll say some rude shit, or like they're coming up with names for a girl, but it's like you sleeping with her. And it's like, you married her. So if she fake, what does that make you? I'm glad she had that good comeback. That's like with Martell when he called old girl peasant. Well, if she a peasant, what that make you? Bird food? Like, quit it. Cut it out. So she's like, yeah, I'm gonna go to that. Like, it's okay if I go. He's like, yeah, just as long as you're not going out partying and stuff. So here's that like weird like permission thing. Like when you're with your spouse, of course I think spouses like underestimate the fact that both of y'all really are supposed to have your own life outside of each other. If y'all don't have your own life outside of each other, that is going to cause a huge like problem. Obviously there needs to be trust, within both of you. But if y'all are so codependent where it's like you got to ask a man, or you're asking, obviously it's a conversation when you go out and do stuff, but asking for permission is just like, it's just a little weird. So, she's like, yeah, she's going to go to that, but she doesn't know how that is going to go yet. So, we now meet Marie, and Marie is a mental health specialist. She opened up a building that, you know, I can appreciate for mental health. A lot of people don't understand, like, obviously how important it is. The brain is the one muscle that is literally moving every day, and it can get tired and it needs a break. That's why Self-Care Sunday is a huge thing that I have now started to do. And especially in the Black community, like, mental health is not just taken as seriously, because obviously when you grow up in a Black household, what does everybody hear? What happens in the house stays in the house type thing. And like, especially Black men in general, they don't believe in therapy. Everybody needs therapy because everybody has mess from childhood that affects them now, or just dealing with messed up stuff. Marie, for example, her mom was an addict. So obviously from 9 years old, Marie is thinking, oh my gosh, like, my mom was, you know, she's an addict, and obviously that's a disease in itself, but that could take a mental and emotional toll from a 9-year-old to now. So obviously she would need, you know, help with that. So for her to open up a facility just to help young youth, especially developing youth, you know, young boys and women, where that's a, you know, very crucial age, like, super, you know, noble of her to do that. But Marie's backstory is a little because she has a daughter, 2 younger sons, and then an older son that's 21. Why she say this 21-year-old got 3 kids? Am I tripping? Like, did I catch that? Y'all caught that? She said 3 grandkids. So, you know, in my head, I'm trying to add that up. Like, okay, so these can't all be the same woman. Like, I hope they're, like, are they the same woman? And then if they're not, like, your son 21 out here sperm donoring 3 kids. And because she's a millionaire, I'm sure she's financially, you know, putting that responsibility on herself, because her son isn't making the type of money that she is to be supporting 3 kids at 21-year-old of age. So that just, like, was madness. I'm definitely interested to see if they're going to dig more into that as the season goes on. But, Marie, she is trying to open up a new building, and she as well got invited to, the ladies who brunch type situation. Speaking of relationships, we forgot to get into Latisha. Latisha, she has a husband who is out as, like, a boater or something like that. And there was a little bit of stepping of outage from her man. So there's a little trust issues there. So like I was saying, trust issues with Latisha and her man. So she kind of weirdly but oddly, like, checked in with him and was like, are you behaving? And he's like, what do you mean? You know, niggas always trying to act like slow. What do you mean? Of course I'm behaving. No, woman. Now, if he was out there cheating on you, if you just ask him straight up, I mean, chances are he's not just going to sit there and tell you, oh, yeah, I just went and had sex with this girl after I got off of work. Like, he's not going to offer that information up freely. Almost every nigga's logic is deny, deny, deny till you die. Until you just straight up got to come to them with the proof in front of them and be like, look, here it is. So it was kind of weird. So it's like, is that going to be like their storyline, like the breakdown between their trust issues? So each couple definitely has their own struggle that we're going to be breaking down this season. But yeah, back to Marie. She's doing her mental health facility. So then we move on to Antoinette, who is a younger girl. She is getting into dentistry, and she's a young Black woman who's opening up her own practice, which is super admirable. One of, she said, like 4 or 5 in her class. So it definitely was like, that's good. Like, we're seeing Black people really take life into their own hand and not necessarily waiting for handouts, but obviously with the challenges that Black people face, it is so hard to just go out there and push and get it when, you know, this country definitely has purposely stacked shit up against us on purpose. So for her to be able to open her own practice, and it's going to be $500,000 to even open up, you know, that building, you go, girl, you got it. But she's a super daddy's girl. But Antoinette has a little story, because she was in an interracial marriage. She was married to a white man, and being married to a white man in Mississippi or the South in an interracial relationship, we can all imagine how awkward that could be, especially when they're voting to take down Confederate statues and Confederate flags. Like, obviously, yeah, he was with a black woman, but you know how sometimes white people will be with black people but don't really listen to the issues or the struggles, or they know that they're there but don't really want to get deep into it because it's all really just about like white people, how they like the way we look and what we can do and how we are like fetishized. So she said they were together for like 7 years, but now she's ready to be on her own. She's like, look, there was just a lot of just like a little tenseness in their relationship, and she lost herself. I'm sure, as married people always say, like, you lose yourself in a marriage already, but to lose yourself in a marriage and then deal with the interracial issues on top of that, I'm sure definitely, as she said, like, kept her back. So now that she's by herself and moving on, like, that's good for her. But she hasn't really told her dad, like, the full story. Because the dad was like, you haven't talked to him yet since the divorce? And she's like, no. What do you want me to say? Like, oh, I'm moving on and doing better since I broke up with you, since we got a divorce. She's like, that's not good to say. And I just felt like that was so crazy. So speaking of divorce, we see a little scene where Antoinette goes and gets a Porsche. She's like, you know, I love shopping retail, but like retail therapy. So then Latisha ends up, Latrice ends up meeting her there. They're obviously going to be like the Doublemint twins of this season. Where you see one, you'll see the other. I'm just hoping Antoinette does not fall into the Cynthia, Nene, Robin, Giselle, you know, pitfall that sidekicks sometimes can, you know, fall into. But Latrice is like, oh, this is the divorce Porsche. And it's like, what do you think the lady's going to do when I pull up in this Porsche? And she's like, speaking of the brunch, like, how do you feel about it? And Antoinette's opinion was, well, if we're going to have these ladies, you know, like, try to show us a business, like, maybe they should already be, you know, up and running and, you know, successful, so we would actually have something to listen to. So her perspective is more like, oh, like, they're not really, like, booming yet. They're just in the process of making a business and just trying to, like, facade like they made it already. But both of them are just like, we just gonna thug out the brunch. It's whatever. So, we finally get to the day of the brunch, I think. Yeah, after that was the day of the brunch. And we see Marie getting ready. And Marie is steady talking about this wig, talking about, girl, like, this strand just, like, they synthetic, like, it's not even moving, you know, it's like not even, you know, who moving, did y'all see that? It's not even moving, you know, she said it's just real stiff, it won't even curl. And she's like, I got this from Goddess Links. And Goddess Links, as we saw, is Latrice's hair brand. So, the girl, whoever was with her, like, I don't know if that was just a friend, the light-skinned girl with the braids, she clearly is either familiar with Latrice or runs in the same circle or is using her products, because she made sure to definitely drop in there like, oh yeah, her stuff is good. Like, oh yeah, but we know her stuff is good, right? So I definitely feel like there's a relationship between Latrice and that girl, because every time Marie tried to dog it, that girl was like, but we know her stuff is good, right? And Marie was like, look at the strands. But Marie, like, I'm trying to think, are you not putting two and two together? Because you said you bought the hair, took it to a dude to go get the weave cut, and made it to a wig. Now, I've heard of this before. I've heard that people would take their hair to get it done, like a person who does wigs or does, you know, styles, and they'll switch out the weave. They'll switch out because they'll just take the bougie weave and sell it instead of, you know, whatever, you know, cheap mid-grade weave that they're using at the moment. Or they'll make a wig, you know, because they can't afford the good money wig. When somebody comes in with the good money wig, they'll switch it out, try to make it look as good as possible, and then keep the real luxurious stuff for themselves to resell at a higher price for somebody else. And I kind of feel like low-key that's what happened, because you can definitely tell the difference between the weave that Marie had and the weave that Latrice and the other girl at the brunch had. It definitely was a difference. So I think Marie, like, you just kind of weren't putting two and two together with that one. But, you know, for the sake of story, we'll roll with it. She's like, but we're going to confront them when we get there. You know, when we sit down, I could talk to them and bring it up. So everybody gets to the brunch. Antoinette's feeling out of sorts because she's like, I didn't get the memo. She came in a real summer dressy vibe, But the other ladies came Southern Belle, you know, real polo, horse racing type attire. And Latrice came, and she came like, okay, but it wasn't definitely like no Southern Belle. Did y'all put the memo like y'all were supposed to wear hats? Like, I don't know if y'all really put that down there, because Southern Belle could be anything to certain people. Southern Belle to Marie was, I took my grandma's curtains, sewed it up into a skirt, and then took Lil Bo Peep's hat and shaved the top out so my wig could poke through at the top. Cause when she walked through, the look on Antoinette and Latrice's face was like, look at it. See what you got on? Do you see what you got on? You can't tell me the other girls at the way farther end of the table was looking at Marie like, what this bitch got on? Because that was not good. Now we trying to be here for you, Marie, but that just was not good. It really wasn't, you know? And you talking about the wig, but girl, you can't even dress. Like, that just was not it. So she sits down, she talking about, I'm the Belle, and it's like, here we go. She kept talking about she's the Belle and she's rich. Like, how many times are you gonna drop that you're rich? We get it, you got money. Clearly it's new money, like you're just now getting into your funds because you're constantly dropping how rich you are. Like, that's gonna get real old real fast. So Latisha comes in, thanks the ladies, have them do affirmations in the mirror. The mirror affirmation thing, I don't think like they said really like real intense affirmations. Like, you know, affirmations means like, above all else, you know, support yourself, or nobody can tell me I'm worthless, like stuff like that. She just kind of was like, girl, you popping, like, you know, cute idea as Latrice said, but it just, you know, missed the mark just a little bit. And I remember that was something that what's the girl did from Love and Mary Huntsville? Tisha, she did the same thing too. So they're sitting down, and Latisha Marie's kind of noticing how Latrice and Antoinette just kind of, they're cackling like a bunch of hyenas from Lion King, you know, just kind of talking about, where the champagne and like, are we seriously gonna sit here doing this? And then she noticed a girl sitting next to Antoinette. She was like, girl, that look familiar. Is that Goddess Lynx? And she said, yeah, girl, and flipped her hair. So Marie took that as her end to be like, well, speaking of Latrice, you know, I went to your studio, and you know, her country stuff. I went to your studio, and she's like, girl, it's beautiful, ain't it? It's popping. Yeah, it's so beautiful. She's like, yeah, it's real nice. But you know, I had brought some, you know, some weed from there and took it to my guy to get fixed, and I just wanted to know, like, is this your product? And she's like, it can't be my product. And she's like, well, no, honey, I went to your store. And she's like, no way, that's my product. And she's like, I'm just letting you know, like, after I got it done, like, look how stiff it is. And Latisha sat down and was touching Marie's hair. And Latisha's over there in her confessional talking about, oh my God, I gotta be Marie's publicist, because she's always acting. The minute she, though, gets on 10, it's hard to get her away from that. Latisha definitely went on 10. So the way Latrice handled it was, you know, slightly shady with a bit of, you tried it. So she's like, oh, really? She's like, oh, if you're supposed to look like me. Like, you see how this looks? That's how it's supposed to look like. And she's like, oh, really? I'm not supposed to look like you? She said, oh, compared to Lil Bo Peep? She's like, okay, little Miss Bo Peep. And it was like super funny. So she was real mild in her responses. I feel like how she did, she was like, look, where the receipts at? Because I don't work with, he says, I work with receipts. And she said, oh, really? She said, but I'm just letting you know that this hair was some bull. And so, Latrice at this point was like, I don't even feel like being in the room with you. Like, we gonna have to dip, because this is not it. So Marie's like, well, go ahead then, you know, shoe fly, shoe. And Latisha's like, no, like, don't go anywhere. And then she's like, Antoinette, time to go. And it's like, dang, Antoinette, that is your friend. You came with her, so if she bounced, you bounce too. But I hope that this isn't a pattern where if Latrice get into something, Antoinette follows, you know, at least to her detriment. So Latisha was talking to Marie like, girl, like, you need to apologize. She's like, I'm not apologizing. Because she's like, y'all need to act like Southern Belle. She's like, I am the Belle. And the girl was like, I'll give you a donation. I'll donate you a couple of weaves. She said, girl, I'll buy your whole product out because I'm rich. And it's like, here we go with the rich. And she's like, I'm not apologizing. She the one who came for me. And I'm like, did you just miss this conversation, Latisha? Like, this all started with you. Like, how did Latrice come after you. First of all, you came after her business and her product. So if she has a reason to, you know, rebuttal or clap back, she absolutely has the reason to. I'm just not understanding. So obviously that's where the episode ends, and we're kind of seeing like, oh, this is where this season's gonna go. And through the preview, it looks really good. Obviously, the battles of being not only a black woman in America, but a black woman trying to have a successful business, a successful marriage, a successful, you know, raising your kids. Like, as much as people want to say you can have it all, the realisticness or the reality is you can't successfully have all of those things, because putting 100% into a business does not amount to putting 100% into a marriage or 100% into raising kids. And you can't build this business and want it to succeed and make sure you're spending time with your spouse as well, like putting in the same energy and time, because you're gonna be daggum tired after that day. So that's where a lot of couples is like, oh my god, you worked all day, like we don't have time to do anything, why don't we go out anymore? It's just a marital issue everybody goes through. So watching the ladies go through that is definitely, you know, going to be something else, and seeing how they overcome it, you know, obviously is gonna be good. So you guys, tell me how you feel about Belle Collective with OWN. We saw the preview. I don't know if y'all saw, but Love and Marriage Huntsville is coming back on like the 20th or something like that. So that definitely is going to be on the review list. So until then, you guys, I appreciate you for tuning in. Appreciate all the birthday wishes. And make sure you guys are tagging my videos, sharing them, posting them, so we can get your girl on and popping this year, okay? Before you go, make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel. I will catch all you guys later. Deuces.